because that's what I did.
As part of his research for warriors, Peter Kosminsky and his writing partner, the late Lee Jackson, visited Ahmici in Bosnia. 11 years later, he's returned to the now rebuilt village.
I'm quite interested to see what it's going to be like for me to go back for the first time for 11 years. I've never been back here, and of course, Lee has subsequently died, so it'll be slightly strange returning here on my own. And here's the ruined minaret, which we attempted to recreate on our set in the Czech Republic. It's just image after image of destruction, really. Imagine being inside that when it was firebombed. And what we were seeking to bring out was the impact that those events had on the young soldiers who went into that village just a matter of hours after the events had taken place. What it smelt like, what it felt like.
You were working with Lee Jackson at the time. You describe it as the best working relationship you've had. Not very long afterwards, he died. What was good about that relationship?
Well, I remember going on holiday with my family to France, and we had to go by car because I took 55 scripts with me. And in amongst that pile was an adaptation of Villette by a writer nobody'd ever heard of called Lee Jackson. But there was something about the economy of his writing and the agility of his storytelling. So I called him in to meet him. And I remember he spent ages talking about football and bloody Manchester United. Now, I can't stand football. I have an aversion to it. You know, we were like chalk and cheese. And I thought, well, where's the sensitivity that I saw in that Villette adaptation? All this guy wants to talk about is Manchester United. But we got to know each other, and of course, all the sensitivity was there. And I found my professional soulmate.
There was no sign of life, but death was everywhere.
What you get when you're here is little details. I mean, we saw washing lines there was a pair of socks, dirty, just hanging there. Now that Lee wrote that into the script. Specific pieces of graffiti written on the sides of houses. The juxtaposition of houses that were still lived in by Croat families that had been untouched with the utterly destroyed and firebombed houses of the Muslims just next door. You can read about that endlessly, but to stand there and experience it as we did is completely different.
While the details Lee Jackson worked into the script stressed the human tragedy, Kosminsky choreographed his camera movements to appear spontaneous, creating an authentic documentary feel.
Nema, to je u nas ubijani, masakrirani, paljeni. Ono što ovako ruka, star deda, ovo naša kuća. To ti je, ja.
Ovo je moja kuća.
Ima nama je Bog stvar da vi slika.
Ovo je, ne, ovo.
Ako se sjećaš u podrumu.
Evo, vidite, ovo.
Najuđa džamije tu.
This is the basement here?
Yes, u podrumu.
Evo vam ova kuća.
Well, it's kind of weird because because there was nobody here, we never identified where the house where the massacre took place was. But there was something really creepy about this spot. We got about here. And you can see these flattened castor oil bottles, which we kicked to one side, but they were across the road like a barrier. And there was something incredibly chilling about it. It just felt like, don't go beyond there. But now what we've just discovered is that it was right outside the house where this massacre that we recreated in the film occurred. It's quite a kind of secret little room, isn't it?
Ovdje je bilo kao ovaj podrum betonski, pa je bilo i prije nego što će doći do toga sukoba. Jer se neke stvari ovdje dovozile, sklanjale se i tako. Ovo je bilo puno nekih stvari, razumijete ovaj.
Sort of shelter. Neil.
A turning point in the emotional journey of the soldiers in Warriors is when they find a family they've been playing video games with burnt alive in a cellar. Peter and Lee Jackson didn't see the actual cellar on their trip to Ahmici, so the corpses are recreated from reference images and testimonies.
Jesus Christ.
They burnt them alive.
I mean, it kind of brings me up short, to be honest, to be here. We looked and looked for this house when we came here with Lee 11 years ago, but I had no way of knowing where it was. We had nobody to guide us. The village was deserted. All the Muslims had fled. And now, by chance, we've happened upon the son of the family that were massacred here. And he's shown us this basement, and I wish Lee could have seen it, really.
And your next project is Palestine. You're not taking the soft option, Peter, are you, really?